I hope everyone is having a good day. In this video, we're going to be revisiting Umberto the Ghost Valenti's story, who I briefly mentioned when I went to go eat at John's of 12th Street. Umberto was quite the character and built himself a solid name in the New York City underworld. He's very seldomly talked about. Most people, when it comes to the mob, go straight to the Commission, Lucky Luciano, Five Families era of New York City underworld history. So now, Umberto the Ghost Valenti was born August 14th, 1891. Sicilian born, like many others during that time, came to New York City at the age of 19 in the year of 1910 and settled in the Lower East Side like a lot of Italian immigrants. In that area in particular, it was a breeding ground, a hub for criminality. You had a lot of poor and hungry Italian immigrants. After settling in New York, it really didn't take him long to get himself acquainted with the New York underworld. He aligned himself with the D'Aquila crime family, led by Salvatore D'Aquila, the capo di tutti capi, the boss of all bosses at that time. In the criminal underworld, in these organizations, there's plenty of ways to prove your value and your worth to your organization. Some people are earners, make a lot of money. Others know how to inflict violence and get things done, and he was one of those guys. He earned himself the nickname the Ghost because of his efficiency and ability to wipe people out undetected. Now, Umberto allegedly, at the time of his death, had around 20 successful hits under his belt, making him one of the most prolific and feared hitmen of his day. Probably his most notable hit was the 1914 murder of Fortunato Lamonte, who at the time was the leader of the Morello crime family and the biggest rival of the D'Aquila crime family. Our friend Fortunato was killed by Umberto and two other hitmen outside of 312 East 108th Street in Harlem. Now let's fast forward to the early 1920s. Prohibition is in full swing, and for some reason, Umberto and a couple of his comrades in the criminal underworld and their boss, Salvatore Toto D'Aquila, had some friction. I couldn't get any real details, but it's a treacherous world. Maybe it was growing influence and power, or perceived growing influence and power, but they were marked for death, which prompted Umberto to leave back to Italy for a little while. Umberto returned around 2 years later, back in 1922, January. In his return, he tries to regain favor with D'Aquila. So what does he do? He gets back on the hunt, gets back behind his gun, and he tries to hunt down another one of his boss's rivals. And again, he targets the Morello Terranova crime family, specifically Vincenzo Terranova. Now on May 7th, 1922, Valenti, who is believed to be the one that actually carried out the shooting in a drive-by, killed Terranova near his East 116th home in Manhattan. And just a handful of hours later, they were downtown on Grand and Mulberry and got into another shootout. Unfortunately, it claimed the life of one of Umberto's associates, Silvio Tagliagambe, who would not speak to the police about who shot him. They were sliding all day, went from Harlem to Lower Manhattan to take out everybody they could. Now, Terranova being taken out left a power vacuum, one that Joe the Boss would have to occupy. And that is how he became the head of that family. August 9th, 1922, Valenti is out on the hunt again. Now, Joe the Boss Masseria is in his neighborhood near his home at 82nd Avenue. Valenti and an associate waited across the street in a cafe. When they seen Masseria walking, they hopped out the store, ran him down, and started shooting. Boom, 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 boom. These two guys literally emptied their guns chasing Joe the Boss. And somehow he made it out, not just alive, but unscathed. Unfortunately though, there was a bystander that was unfortunately shot and killed, and a couple other people and a horse were hit. And unfortunately, it only takes one mistake, and this blunder, this gaffe by Umberto would be his only, and it cost him his life. 2 days later, on August 11th, 1922, Joe the Boss Masseria wants some get back. He's not playing, he's not gonna give him a second chance. Umberto and a couple of his associates are at John's of 12th Street expecting a meeting, allegedly to iron out their differences with the Masseria crew. Little does he know, he's about to get ambushed. As they leave the establishment, something spooks Umberto, and he realizes the jig is up. He bolts towards 2nd Avenue, but it's too late. Two infamous notable figures in the criminal underworld that have basically been immortalized. Lucky Luciano is confirmed as one, and the other is highly speculated as Vito Genovese. Two guys that would basically make underworld history in New York City are the two assassins to take out Umberto the Ghost. Unfortunately, two bystanders were hit, a young girl with her family and a street sweeper. Thankfully though, both did survive, putting an end to the legendary run that Umberto was having. And Joe the Boss, not knowing, those same guys that pulled the hit for him, we're gonna take him out as well. But that's the end of the video. I'm gonna be doing more unknown mob figures that are very seldomly talked about. They have stories that are just as interesting but not talked about as often, and I want to get into those.